I thought I was just doing my neighbor a favor by interrupting her dinner, but as I watched from the window, everything changed. What I saw that night wasn't just a family squabble, it was a betrayal that would destroy everything she thought she knew. You know how people say time flies when you're not paying attention? That's exactly how the last 5 years of my life have felt since I moved into this quiet neighborhood. After my messy divorce, I needed a place where I could just be, somewhere I could settle into my own company. I wasn't expecting to make close friends, but then Hazel moved in next door with her husband, Sebastian, and things changed. We hit it off almost instantly. She was one of those rare people who made you feel seen and understood, like you could tell her anything. Our friendship grew quickly, from casual chats over the fence to morning coffee sessions in our kitchens. Sebastian was always there in the background, the kind of guy who never caused any drama. Their marriage seemed perfect, at least on the surface. But lately, Hazel wasn't herself. She'd been more on edge, throwing out cryptic comments about how things were getting weird at home, especially with her mother-in-law, Donna. Hazel said Donna was stirring up drama behind the scenes, spreading lies about her, and making life unnecessarily hard. At first, I thought she was exaggerating. I mean, how bad could it really be, right? I'd met Donna a few times. She seemed like your typical overbearing MIL, but nothing out of the ordinary. Then, yesterday, Hazel called me with this strange request. She asked me, out of the blue, to interrupt their family dinner. 7 sharp, she said. No other details, just this urgency in her voice that made me agree without pushing her for more. I figured maybe she was just trying to escape another awkward family moment. But what happened next? Well, let's just say I wasn't ready for it. So, there I was, at 7 p.m., standing at Hazel's door. I knocked twice before Sebastian answered with his usual warm smile. Addison. What a surprise. Come in, he said, stepping aside to let me in. But before I could even respond, Hazel came rushing into the hallway, practically shoving past him. Her hand grabbed mine in a tight grip, and I barely had time to process it before she dragged me outside again. Hazel, I whispered urgently, forget about Donna for a second. Look over there. Hazel, what's going on? I asked, my heart racing as she led me across the yard and into my own house. Why did you just pull me out of there? You need to explain what's happening. Just, come with me, Hazel said, her voice low and trembling. You'll see in a second, I promise. We've got the perfect view from your upstairs window. I followed her, still confused but too curious to refuse. She led me up the stairs and into the guest room, pushing open the door. We both crouched by the window that overlooked her dining room. The view was perfect, just like she said. I could see straight into her kitchen where Sebastian and Donna were finishing up dinner preparations. What are we doing here, Hazel? I whispered, my breath shallow. I was nervous, and I didn't even know why yet. She didn't answer. Instead, she pointed toward her mother-in-law. That's when I saw Donna hovering over the food, glancing around as if she were trying to make sure no one was watching. I leaned closer, my eyes narrowing. Was she sprinkling something into the food? I turned to Hazel, my mind spinning. Is she poisoning the food? My voice came out in a horrified whisper. Hazel shook her head. Not poison, but close enough. She's been sabotaging me for months, Addison. She adds too much salt, burns things on purpose, then sits back and watches as everyone complains about how terrible my cooking is. My jaw dropped. She's been doing that on purpose? Why? I don't know, Hazel admitted, her voice thick with frustration. She wants to make me look incompetent in front of Sebastian. Every time something goes wrong, it's like she gets this twisted satisfaction out of it. I was about to say something when a movement from the corner of my eye made my stomach flip. I froze, my eyes widening. Hazel, I whispered urgently, forget about Donna for a second. Look over there. My heart sank as I stared down from the window, barely able to believe what I was seeing. There, just inches apart, were Sebastian and Hazel's sister, Zoe. His hand brushed against her arm, lingering for far too long. Then, it happened. They kissed. And it wasn't some accidental, fleeting peck either. It was long, slow, and intentional. My stomach twisted. This wasn't just some misunderstanding. It was betrayal, raw and real. Hazel had been worried about her mother-in-law, Donna, but this? This was something else entirely. Beside me, Hazel froze, her face draining of color as she processed what was unfolding right in front of her. Her body trembled as if she could barely keep herself together. "No, no way," she whispered, her voice shaking, barely above a breath. "Not my sister." I reached for her hand, but she pulled away, her eyes fixed on the scene below. The fury bubbling inside her was almost tangible. I didn't dare speak. "This," she said, her voice barely controlled, "this ends tonight." Her eyes snapped to me, a fierce determination replacing the initial shock. "I'm not letting this slide. Not any of it." She yanked her phone out of her pocket, her fingers trembling as she began to snap photos of the scene, her mother-in-law sneaking around the kitchen and her husband cozying up to Zoe. "Hazel, are you sure?" I asked, though I knew it was a pointless question. She was way past sure. "Absolutely," she said, the edge in her voice sharpening. "I've put up with too much for too long. They all think I'm blind, that I don't notice what's going on around me. Well, tonight, they're going to learn." Without missing a beat, she dialed my number and handed me the phone. "Stay on the line. You're going to record everything." Before I could respond, Hazel stormed downstairs. I watched, my pulse racing, the phone pressed tightly to my ear. Her footsteps were deliberate, each one echoing in the now quiet house. Sebastian and Zoe froze as she entered the room. Sebastian pulled back from Zoe like a guilty teenager caught sneaking out after curfew, his face turning several shades paler. "Hazel?" he stammered. "What are you doing here?" Hazel's voice was cold, every word coated in controlled anger. "What am I doing here?" "No, Sebastian. The better question is, what are you doing?" Zoe's eyes widened, panic flashing across her face. She opened her mouth, probably to start spewing excuses, but Hazel cut her off. "Zoe, don't even try it," Hazel snapped, her voice trembling with a mixture of rage and heartbreak. "You know exactly what I saw. It's not what it looks like." Zoe blurted out, taking a step back, her hands shaking as she held them up defensively. "Hazel, I swear, it's not what you think. Not what it looks like." Hazel laughed, but it was a hollow sound. "Do you think I'm stupid? I saw it all. Addison saw it all. And before you even think about lying again, you should know, I recorded the whole thing." Sebastian's face turned ghostly white. "Hazel, wait," he started, stumbling over his words. "It's complicated." "Complicated?" Hazel's voice cracked. "You want to talk about complicated? Fine. How about this? Your mom's been tampering with our food for months, making me look like a fool in front of you, in front of your entire family. And now, I walk in here and find you making out with my sister?" Sebastian opened his mouth, but nothing came out. Just then, Donna rushed in from the kitchen, her face pale, her hands trembling. She must have realized she'd been caught too. "Hazel, dear," Donna began, her voice shaky, "it's not what you..." Hazel didn't even look at her. "Don't," she warned, her voice low and deadly. "Just don't. I know exactly what you've been doing. Sabotaging my meals, spreading lies about me. What, did you think I wouldn't figure it out? You've been doing this for months." Donna's mouth opened and closed like a fish gasping for air, but Hazel wasn't done. "I should have known you were in on this too. Trying to make me look like I can't even manage a meal. What's the plan, huh? Kick me out of here so Sebastian and Zoe can play house? No. Sebastian blurted out, his hands reaching out as if he could somehow physically stop what was happening. It's not like that, Hazel, please, just let me explain. But Hazel's eyes were cold now, with no hint of the woman who had once adored him. Explain? There's nothing left to explain. You and I? We're done. Sebastian's face crumpled. What do you mean, done? Hazel looked him square in the eyes. I'm filing for divorce. And Zoe? She turned to her sister, whose tear-streaked face showed nothing but regret. You are dead to me. Hazel, please, Zoe begged, her voice breaking. It wasn't serious. It just happened. Just happened? Hazel's voice trembled. You're my sister. You're supposed to have my back. But instead, you're here, throwing yourself at my husband? Her face hardened, and she let out a deep breath. I'm done with both of you. The room went silent, the weight of Hazel's words sinking in. Sebastian looked like he wanted to argue, but he must have realized there was no point. As I listened from the other end of the line, my heart ached for Hazel. The betrayal she had uncovered in a single night was almost unbearable. But there she was, standing tall, reclaiming her strength. Hazel turned on her heel, leaving them both in stunned silence. She didn't look back. That night, Hazel's house remained quiet and dark, but I knew her world had changed forever. She had taken her power back, but the cost was heavy. And as her friend, all I could do was be there for her, to help her pick up the pieces of a life torn apart by betrayal. Write in the comments what would you have done and subscribe to our channel D-Damn Mix.